What's good, people? What is up? What is they went from the fourth level of hell and sent us down to the seventh level of hell. Why? Because then you got Kwanzaa pulling out her titties. The whore pulled out her titties. And these whore bags over here started feeling and fondling on her tits. Mike.
I don't have it to do with you. Girl, you can go over there, rant and rave. Girl, you can shake all your rainbow bright hair all you want, dear one. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this with you, dear one. I'm not doing this with you, dear one. I don't have nothing to do with you, and I'm done. Baby, you can scream my name from the rooftops from now till Jesus come back. I'm done after this.
Introduced to Tick's Meat. Do you see what I see? Did y'all really hello, casting wardrobe? Y'all let him roll up out of wardrobe with these fans on, giving us all of this, thinking we were not going to see it? We have been waiting with bated breath and anticipating all season long for the slightest glimpse, and y'all just put it out there this episode in all of its magnificent glory.
Listen, that young man said, baby, you ate on this first date, you giving up the cooch on the first date, okay? Well, you gonna run me my coins. Run me my cooch or run me my coins. Run me my cooch or run me my coins. Run me my cooch or run me my coins. That's how I do this song. That is the new song. Listen, somebody need to put a beat to that. Run me my cooch or run me my coins. Run me my cooch or run me my coins. That's what y'all got going on.
Called out Sandcastle. Sand, bitch. Ow. Oh my God, it was so funny, girl. Ooh, baby, listen, let me tell you something. This shit started to turn into the precursor for some gay porn. That's what I thought it was. Because Big T is getting all, the voice starting to go deeper and get a little more wet and moist and sentimental and all this shit. And it was real gay at this point. Like, I thought the bitches was gonna, I thought Lil Murder was gonna turn Big T around and do him like he did Uncle Cliff and do the grease it up with City Lube and ran right in there. It's not a coincidence that Big T started off the conversation by trying to find out if Lil Murder was fucking Mercedes, which he found out he's not. It's also not a coincidence that he would start talking about prison. Why? Because the bitches was probably fucking in prison. Girl. Uncle Clifford, you better go get your man. Big T got plans for that. Well, he had it on look like something Big Bird vomited up or something like that. Like, I did not like it. That Big Bird couture he was going for, it did not work. Like the pastor of a gay mega church on Easter Sunday. Okay, it was way too much sequins. He had on way too much makeup. Baby, his face looked like Iyanla Vanzant's neckline. Okay, just way too much makeup clumped in everywhere on his face. Get it together, sweetheart. Like, you're a big girl, so that gives you a whole lot of canvas. So that was a whole lot of makeup, honey. And Rico looked like he was auditioning to be one of the three kings, or he was auditioning to be the main character on Jesus Christ Superstar. Girl, Wayne, did you have on a blue thong or a blue G-string or something? If you did, I want to see. Can I see? Get me up in my DMs. I do want to see if you have some blue thongs or blue, jock strap, something like that. I'd love to see it. Anyway, but I liked it with the turtleneck. Now, Troy. Well, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. How are you? How is everyone? We are back today. With yet another exclusive interview from Real Life Reality YouTube channel. And today we'll be looking at one of the cast members of their new show, The House of Music. And we have interviewed him before. We had an interesting interview the last time. I feel like we didn't even get everything out we needed to get out the last time. So maybe we could get more done and accomplished this time around. So I have none other than one Mr. the Blk Boi George, or some people call him J Dot. He has several names and pseudonyms. How are you today? I just to let the people know, he is not on camera. We were having some technical difficulties that we couldn't quite work out, but I can confirm this is the Blk Boi George. So you don't have to be alarmed. It is him. Say hi to the people.
What's going on, people? You know what I'm saying? Run me my cool. Run me my cool.
In the background, I'm just saying I hear something in the background. Like, I don't know if you have me on another screen in the background or something. It's just.
Hold on.
Echo.
How about now?
Oh, that's much better.
Okay.
All right. But yeah, say hi to the people.
Hello, people. How y'all doing today?
Good, good, good. How are you doing today? More importantly.
I'm doing good. I just got finished watching Sinners.
Oh, that was a good movie. Did you
It,
enjoy it?
I did. I hate. I'm a person that argue with the TV. So I be talking to the characters.
I
So
think we
like
all do that.
yeah. So I be hating stupid stuff. I be like, oh my god, why would you do that? Like what would make you think to put your arm out to put money into a vampire's hand when you're trying to figure out if he's a vampire or not? Like
Mhm.
so stuff like that just had me going crazy.
I bet. Let me ask you this. How did you think our first interview went?
I felt like it was unfinished. I felt like
It
we
was.
focused on the guy Shaw, who, as you can see, has become a major non-factor in any of life. So it was like it was giving him too much, and we didn't finish. Like we had went on for a long time, and we didn't get to finish. I
Mhm.
remember,
We didn't.
and I
And
was at
you.
home. I hated that I wasn't home. I was out at that time, so I just didn't
Mhm.
feel like it was my best. But we y'all had a key cackle.
I didn't have anything. I just sit here and do the interviews. That I just ask questions that as they come. I don't write anything down. I'm not scripted. We just go with the flow. We just go with the flow. Well, let me ask you this.
Hmm.
Seeing as how real life and music season 2 went, what made you sign up for the House of Music?
Well, season two was really good for me. I mean, I felt like the season was about me. So I feel like I did a job. To be honest, I mean, on as far as people who are on the internet, I got a lot of love from people. I got a lot of love from people that love the teddy bear, love Lil Blue, and a lot of people that just hated the whole situation with Karma. People most definitely told me don't waste any more time with that. They felt like that took up a lot of stuff that could have been taught. I could have been showing other parts of me, but instead I was arguing with somebody that was a nobody. So I don't, I
Would you
felt like
say
stuff
that
like
you
that.
like to argue?
No, I just that if I'm gonna argue with somebody, let me be arguing with somebody that's worth the time of arguing with. Someone else that's, you know, don't argue with nobody's, you know. So
Mhm.
that's
So,
how I
what
feel.
did you come into the House of Music expecting? What did you expect from the show?
More artists to work with. I think because it was a house situation and we were going to be, spending the night there, for a few days. I expected a lot more. I know that it's a reality show. I know it's going to have drama. I know it's going to be those things. But I just expected that it would be a lot more music artistic work between the artists, you know. So that's
A
the
lot
one
more
thing I
collabs.
yeah, a lot more collaborations, a lot more even sitting down listening to beats amongst each other. Like we didn't even do that. But I guess because I think 3 days also isn't enough of time in a sense to maybe it was so much other stuff going on that we just didn't. Because I remember even outside of recording, we only got I think one other chance where we sat down and listened to each other's music on our own, and I think it was just us trying to force it just because we were there.
Sorry,
Mhm.
I
Not
just
that
got a bad
like going
roller.
off.
Sorry.
But I think that we on our own tried. We at least I remember that. I do remember us sitting down with each other trying to listen to each other's music without the cameras. Just on our own. I
Oh,
thought that
without
was
the cameras, because they did show it on camera this past episode, episode 3. I did see that on episode 3.
yeah. So it was like we tried to have a genuine moment of just of really just connecting as artists. I do remember that moment of just sitting down at the table, the same table y'all saw, and us listening to music with of our own music without cameras. So I think that was like one of the dopest moments where we tried to just be as genuine as we can be, since we were there because we wanted to know. We got to hear those songs that we heard, but that wasn't like our catalog that really show us who we are. So, it was like, well, what music you got that, what's your favorite work that you got that maybe, nobody heard yet? And we had that was a dope moment. Sparky played some dope songs. Sparky played some dope songs. Like he got records like Kanye West, like it was really dope.
And that leads to my next question: Who in the house where did you say, you know what, I respect this person, I respect their work, and I would love to work with them or collab with them or do more with them?
Um, being honest, sad to say, I would have said it was
Nobody.
perimeter. I
Oh,
know I would have
perimeter.
said, yeah, I would have
Okay.
because we actually wrote a song together. Prior to meeting, we had already formed a collab. He had sent in his verses to me. He went to the studio, laid his verses, had sent them to me, and then I was, was working on my verses, and actually I completed it and rapped it part of it to him that night when we were on the patio, just me and him as we were, partaking. So before the bedroom situation. So I had just did part of my verse to him to let him see where I was coming from. So and I like that song. I thought, me and Bando, we've been talking about a collaboration, recently. We got something that we've been working on. And Sparky was just, I think Sparky hasn't had the chance to really sit down in a real studio or really get the chance to really be somewhere professionally where he's able to create his music. So I would love to do something with Sparky. Kind of everybody, to be honest. I ain't had no oppositions, but just as far as favorite people, Perimeter and Sparky were like two people that I was like, I got
We
to do
never
something.
got to hear Sparky's work. Is he a singer or a rapper?
He's a rapper.
Okay. Let me ask
Yeah.
you that. I remember him saying that now.
hmm
Um, I know Bando made a big thing about I think it was Jamal's music not being,
Professional.
professional and stuff like that. Um, your music, do you try to make sure you go do all of your stuff in a studio and try to make sure it's flushed out professionally?
Yeah, yeah, and that's why I don't have like as much work out that I would like, but I have a ton of songs that's recorded professionally. But as an artist, I'm very picky on myself. So I'm like, oh, well, I wanted to get this part mixed down a little bit more, or I wanted to add this part. And then sometimes when you have songs for years and then you go back and listen to them, you listen to them and you be trying to figure out what it is that you had wanted done because it sounds so good. It's like, you know what, I was stupid. Like I should already put this on there. But
It-
I am very big on that. I do record everything at the studio. I haven't been a person who's really use the phone to record a song yet. Not knocking people out there because some people are good at it, but I haven't. I'm like, boy, just take that money and just go to the studio.
is
Like,
it expensive?
depends on the engineer that you get because most of the times you're paying for the engineer's time plus you're paying for the studio, and most times you have to already have an engineer. Unless you go pull up to a studio and they just so happen to have engineers because most time the studio is owned by one person and then they promote their business to bring in people to come work there. So you have to normally find you an engineer, and that kind of could be a problem on finding a good engineer. I'm here in Savannah. One of the main problems is just people not wanting to work with somebody that's gay. So
Okay.
so I haven't gotten anything done here just off of that. Like even to come to videos, like this picture that you guys see as my avatar, that's actually an exclusive of a upcoming photo shoot. But that was from a guy who was my Uber driver, and I was explaining to him how he was listening to my music and trying to understand why I don't have videos to these songs. And I was explaining to him, what the issue was, and he felt bad for me. He thought that it was like very lame of people in Savannah to not want to partake on certain things just because of my sexuality. So he actually took the time to do those photos, to do this photo shoot that you guys will see for free, just on the love of him being a SCAD student, and the only thing he wanted in return was for me to listen to him rap.
Okay. Do you often, when you meet people, do you lead with your sexuality?
No, I don't. What happens is that people that know me meet me and they just find me to be cool. And then for guys, like when they might see something like on the page or later, they may learn, from someone else, just because you being honest about it to people, just because certain people know about it, don't mean everybody could just look at him and say that, look at me and say that. So, I've had situations where people just find out later on their own and they'll be defending me. They'll be defending saying he's not. No, he's not. He's not like that. Why do y'all keep calling him that word, gay or whatever? And and they'd be like, because he is. And like, have you ever really talked to him? He'll tell you. And he'd be like, and then once they ask me, and then I tell them, and then it'd be like, you lied. And they'd be like, "What did I lie about? You never even asked me." And my relationship with you is not based on our attraction; it's based on us being homies or working on music. So that's where I got the name the Black Boy George from, was to kind of just get it out the way. Because most people know Boy George to be bisexual, gay. So, I did it as a way to just kind of wear the word on my forehead,
Mhm.
but a lot of people don't even know who Boy George is. So it's still just
Yeah,
like,
not these days. These young kids don't even know what we're doing. My question is, and I asked that question specifically related to you finding an engineer, because I would think that if you're just looking for an engineer, you and however you identify sexually shouldn't be a topic of conversation. It should be like, hey, I got some music. I'd love to, I heard you're a great engineer. I'd love for you to come and help me out in studio. What are your rates? And go from there. I wouldn't think that it would be something where people would be like, "Oh, you gay? Yep, can't engineer for you. Thou don't want those gay dollars."
I promise I would think it would be that way too. And it's very unfortunate, because some people, be cool people that you meet. So, for them for it and it'd be having interesting moments. Like I had videos that I would thought would have gotten done this year, or around Christmas, for certain videos off of the energy that I met with certain people who met me and wanted to do something just on the strength of this guy come into the mall, and everybody respecting him and everybody rocking with him. And then it's like they'll go to my page, because I had this incident happen recently. Somebody went to my page and they sent me a message saying, "Hey, yo, bro, are you a part of the LGBT community?" Because they had saw one of the flyers for the real life music show. So they seen the other people in the picture who were more gayer than me. So it made sense to them, like, oh, well, he might be gay too then. And they asked me, and I was honest with them, and they was cool with it. But and I won't say nothing negative about that person, because they still do try to make their strides on keeping in contact with me. Do I feel like it's not been as since the way it was when we met? Yeah, but I've been honest with it about them, and then they had their chance to say that they just been busy or whatever. But nonetheless, I was still honest about to say I feel a certain way. Because you get tired of it. I ain't gonna act like it don't hurt. So when people on the show would make it seem as if I'm off in a corner and I'm all straight or something, and I don't rock with the gays. They called me a homophobic, a homophobic. Like they don't know, bro. I go through stuff in my regular world, and you think it's different just because I may come off a little bit more mask presenting. It is not. You know what I'm saying? Once a person learns something about you, I don't know why that bothers people, mainly men. Why does it bother you that I'm gay at all if you're only getting your money out of it and you're only producing something for me or shooting a video? Why does it matter if people who see you shot that video for that boy, what can they say? Oh, you shot a video for a faggot? So what if you shot a video for a faggot? Like it doesn't even matter. Like that faggot had money. The hell?
Is
So
that something that you discuss with other artists? Like, I know there may be a lot more opportunities or people to choose from in Atlanta. Is that maybe something that you spoke about to other artists who may have insights on some people that you may be able to work with, like Bando or
well, I mean, yeah, in Atlanta,
Chrissy
I
or
do have. In Atlanta, it's different. Savannah is set off in his mindset a little bit, because it comes to even me as a cake baker. I meet all type of people, that just have their mindset. They'll not think about you being gay, and they might be talking about literally calling a person a faggot and a sissy that just came into their store. You know what I'm saying? They might just be, and it's just casual conversation. It's not like they're being malice. They're like, look at that faggot that just came here. You know what I'm saying? Like, why he doing that? So it's like, and they're talking to you, not knowing you to be anything other than someone they find cool enough to sit there and hold that type of conversation with. So I don't, in Atlanta, you don't have those issues. I've had plenty people that I work with. My favorite engineer, the dude that did Mr. Lonely, he did majority of the Sincerely the Black Boy George mixtape. He didn't, in fact, when in the beginning he didn't know until I did the song The Prototype, the I'm Gifted to Be Different song. When I did that song, I was a little afraid, but he had made me comfortable enough, so I ain't had gave him a warning. I just told him, bro, I'm about to do something very different. You know what I'm saying? But I promise you, it's gonna be hot. You just gotta rock with me. So when he pressed play to record, and I went and did my verse, man, he had stopped that shit. He said, "Yo, this is you. This is who you are." You know what I'm saying? He said the way you rapping, your confidence. He was like, it's like you do good other raps, but be you. He was like, this what I want to hear. He said, I will rock this. You know what I'm saying? So, in Atlanta is different. You don't get that here in Savannah. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, I was in
Our
Atlanta a few weeks
military
ago.
over there.
It
That's why.
was it was up the I was in Atlanta a few weeks ago and it was amazing. Like just being downtown, bro, the way people embrace you, the way people would know something about you and not care and will stand next to you to show you they'll stand next to you. You don't get that here. But there, bro, it was the world. It made me miss it, because you don't get that here. Even your family can't accept you like that. I don't even get that in family.
How old are you now, sir? If you
I'm
don't mind
38.
me asking.
38.
All right. Um, I I asked that because I'm just trying to get a frame of reference for generations and things like that. Earlier, a couple minutes ago, you mentioned when people called you a homophobe or said that you were homophobic. These are things that hurt you and that hurt you. What are I want to I want to touch there. What are things that people do or say that you get hurt by or that makes you feel bad?
Well, I'm not gonna say feel bad, but I had hated when Karma had made it seem as if I was one of the type of because she said I was one of the type of guys that she think that if I was around my straight friends, I would pick on her and call her names and beat her up too. Because I would never, she don't understand, I would turn on the person that's next to me immediately if I had ever seen that. Like that, those things bother me. My movement is called Gifted to Be Different. You know what I'm saying? Like I've always been this way. You know what I'm saying? And when I was in prison and stuff, you had to stand for yourself. That's how I became so strong. I didn't have nowhere to go. You're in a dormitory with like 90 men and some of them might want to some of them might really rock with you and you might know them to have good conversation. It could be a friend, but when they are in a hive mindset of because they might one might be a blood, you know what I'm saying, and they got to hold their image, people will turn against you. And I've been into a dormitory where I don't want to kill myself because everybody had a hive mindset, you know what I'm saying, and nobody rocked with me. People wouldn't want me to sit at their tables when it came to eating and stuff, you know what I'm saying. Imagine you're walking around a dormitory, these people you got to sleep with, eat with, you know what I'm saying, like live with, and you're having to walk around from table to table because you can't go to a table that somebody will accept you at. You know what I'm saying? So for her to think that, like, it was just so misjudgment. It was like, girl, you keep talking about your spirit and stuff, but your spirit must be off because I would never. I done been in person and stood up for people. I have to stand up for myself.
Well, why
You
did you
know,
get so mad when Dink was standing up for her?
well, because he's not listening, he doesn't care about other people's stories within our lifestyle, and that's how I felt. It became it got to get on my nerves. It's like, bro, Sparky over here got a story too. Like we all got stories. So why are you only standing up for them? And even when they're wrong, everybody kept standing up for her when she was the one in the wrong, and that bothered me. It was like I had to stand against everybody because they all joined her side, and she was in the wrong. They kept caring about what I said to her as my response, but what she said to me was offensive. It bothered me. You can't keep calling me those words. You gay, you faggot, you sissy, you dick sucker. How you gonna keep calling me that stuff? And then had the nerve to say, and you men's when that snapped at me. You men's bitch, you forgot what you was born as? Like, don't play with me. Like, no, I'm 38, and I guess because I'm 38, I see things just fully clearly.
With you being 38, I would think that you get to a certain point when you get to a certain age where you don't want to be around certain things. I know for me at my age, I remove myself from situations because I know me. I'm too old to be around things that make me angry or bother my spirit. So I sometimes I watch the show and I have to applaud members of the cast because I'd be like, I don't know how y'all deal with a karma or in certain people. I'll be like, yeah, nah, nah, that we're not doing that. I just can't. I just
That's
can't.
how I feel. That's how I feel about a lot about recording now. But I've spoken to Greg about this. You know what I'm saying? Because and he, they know this. In my regular world, I'm not a person who would deal with this type of foolishness over and over. Like if I had seen foolishness from you, you would never see me again. We would never talk. But because we're recording a show and you signed up, so it's like it's a career in a sense. You know what I'm saying? It's a job.
You gotta do what you gotta
I'm
do.
having to put up
I
with
got
it.
you.
You know what I'm saying? Just for the sake of it's my job.
Well, you know, people have different ways of if this is a place that they have to be or deal with, people have different ways to deal that they deal with it. Some people say, you know what, I'm just gonna be over here off to myself. I'm not gonna let this person trigger me and bother me. I'm just gonna be over here. And to me, sometimes it seems like you go run right toward it and try to meet it head on instead of saying, no, I'm not. Nope.
Well,
Just gonna let that
I'm
be
not a
over there.
person who I'm not a person who hold grudges. I'm not a person who, when the next day get here, it might be a few hours later, I be done like I'm back in a bubbly space, like, cause I done created a good energy and positive space for myself. So if I'm not about to come at you. It might come off the people as antagonizing, and trolling, and it's a little funny, but I'm being as genuine as possible. Like, are you still really mad about whatever you mad about? Like how, like I seen Chrissy and them when we did a recent shoot, and and they were still holding a grudge against Jamal from like a year before, and I was just sitting
Mm.
there like, how in the hell can you have an attitude from last year? Because even right now, me and Jamal, we had a whole blow up. Now I'm not gonna sit here and say I'll be his friend anymore, just because I'm just creating that space of where I say no means no. So I'm not gonna do it no more. But I'm not gonna sit here and act like I have something against him. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not me. It's like, boy, you need to grow up and just see what I was saying was from a place of care. So I didn't mean to hurt you. And if you grow up and get past it, then I could be your friend again. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't that
What's
type of
your
person
sign
who,
again, sir?
huh?
What's your sign again?
A Pisces.
Oh, um,
I don't know what you got to say about Pisces, but
I have a lot to say about Pisces.
oh, well, you might want to watch it. What's your sign?
Mm. What is my
What's
sign?
your
I'm a
sign?
Capricorn.
Oh, gee. Well, y'all cool people. Like we normally rock with y'all. So I ain't gonna sit there and say nothing negative about it. Capricorns are some of the people I could think of when I'd be like, oh, okay, well, a relationship with them would have worked. Yeah.
A relationship with the Capricorn works for the Pisces, but the Capricorn ends up losing their minds because Pisces, y'all change every day of the year. Y'all have 365 personalities. Every day is a new person.
Right.
Every day. Every day
That's
is a
what
new person.
every one of my relationships used to say that. They'd be like, as soon as I thought I figured you out, it's like,
Every day is a new person with the pie. Whereas Capricorns, we are the same all the time. We like everything to be the same. Y'all Pisces, which works for y'all Pisces, because y'all always know what y'all gonna get. Whereas for us, we're losing our minds because we don't know what the hell we gonna get with y'all. Okay, because y'all change every day. It's a whole new person. Like, who are you?
no, because I'm like, I've been the same person since I've known myself.
In
So what
your
you mean?
mind, you're the same person, but to the other people, to us other people, we're like, it's a different person every day. You never know what you're gonna get. It's interesting. Keeps you on your toes. Let me go ahead and knock out this whole situation, and then we can talk about another situation. Let's get this perimeter situation out of the way. Now, let me ask you this. Let me know if I go too far.
Hmm.
Um, Prior to that night and everything, well, first it looks like y'all wrote there together, right?
Yeah.
Or y'all at least arrived together. I'm not sure if y'all wrote together, but on the filming, y'all arrived together.
Yeah, we rode together there.
Okay. When y'all were on y'all way there, were y'all smoking?
No, no, no. We were with Greg. We had actually met. He was already with Greg.
Okay, so
So
you were with
we
Greg. Okay.
all,
So
yeah.
now I know that there was a lot of drinking, but there are allegations that there were some illicit drugs involved that you and
Hmm.
him had. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. Um, are you are you comfortable sharing what you all did together?
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. We were
Because I don't
partaking
have no
in.
problem with people who do nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, no. I mean, at the end of the day, it's already out there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what? So I mean, yeah, we were participating in Tina. So
Okay.
and when we
That
got to
changes a lot of the story. Okay, I got you. That I have another question, but go ahead, keep going. I got you.
when we got there together, we weren't like we had just met. We had only been talking on the phone maybe 2 months prior. So that's how we had like a form of history with each other, is because we had been talking on the phone. So when we met each other, it was like, oh, we just met each other, you know. And so that was our first time meeting, and then we rode to the
Face
house
to
together.
face.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So for once Greg paired us into our room, which we ended up having a room together, um, that's where he ended up, I guess, taking his first hit of the bowl. You know, I mean, for a person that's
Now, you mentioned that before getting there, y'all kind of in y'all talkings kind of said, maybe we could be like showmans, or we could be the
so no,
couple
so we
on the
had had
show.
that talk. We had talked about that over the phone. What happened
Right?
is
No, I'm
we
saying over the phone, not in person, but that's what I'm saying over the phone.
yeah.
Okay.
So what happened is that we had that conversation when we first started talking on the phone, and then as it got close, and then he did. I do remember, watching the show back. I remember when he called me when he was having his first night of feeling of relapse or whatever, and it was because he confided into me so much that night, and just needed to talk, and I was there for him. But I saw how it might not be so healthy or smart to go so hard with us. Like it was friendship in a sense, but it was we starting to approach that level of, after that conversation, I think the couple of the house and stuff like that. So that's
Mm.
what made it a little bit like, I think I need to pull back. You know what I'm saying? Because like I'm selling him something before we meet, and though I genuinely feel like I like him, at the same time I know I'm going to be placed in the house with a bunch of other people, and I'm older, he's younger, so I'm smart enough to at least be, you don't bring beach to, sand to the beach, so
Right. No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
yeah, so
Um,
so it just was what it was. So when we met, and then it partake from there, and I think I left it with him, so when he's in the room on his own, he can hit it if he feel like he can hit it a few times, and that's what it was.
okay. Um, how much do you think the both of you have been drinking in
Oh,
addition to
I'm
that?
not even a drinker at all. So I only sipped. Like when you see me sip the cup, that's literally what you had seen. That was it. I don't even like to drink. So him though, I ain't gonna lie. I don't recall him drinking that much, to be honest. He said it don't take a lot for him to get that way, but I wasn't like I was paying attention to him drink, but I don't recall him drinking so much to where but everybody that's drinking is different. See, I don't drink a lot. So if I had drunk more than a cup and a half, I know that I'm going to feel drunk, and I know that I won't feel great.
And
So
one of the things about people who that I know people who use who do Tina, one of the things they say they become sexually insatiable,
yes.
meaning they can go hours and hours and hours and hours and still go for more. So there becomes this, wanting it, wanting it, wanting it. He even admitted that when he gets drunk, or someone said that he admitted to them, I should say. So this would be
Hmm.
third party, that when he gets drunk, he told them that when he gets drunk, he gets horny. I know even Bando mentioned that he was, throughout the day had been flirting with people and, making sexual advances, not physically, but maybe verbally
Hmm.
at individuals. Did you find that to be the case?
No, I ain't gonna sit here and lie. I didn't hear him do that. I do know when Jamal came to the house, it was talked about, leaving the house to go link with some people that was in Loganville. And Jamal had seen some people that was online that he wanted to go try. But I was like, we made it to the house. Like, why would we leave the house to go link with people when it just didn't make sense. Like you could put that shit on hold to Sunday night. I'm not about to leave on Friday night that I just got here to go link with some people down the street. Like, what was the purpose in coming to this experiment?
When you first got a look or started interacting in person with Jamal, were you attracted to him?
Yes.
Okay. Did you already in your, because for men a lot of times, upon first setting, yep, gonna get me some parts of that. Did you say when you saw it, yep, gonna get me some parts of that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I mean, he could have stayed at the house. Like, we could have, we would have just did our thing that night. You know what I'm saying? If that was the case, I probably wouldn't even be in the situation, or of holding this part of a conversation, so
I'm
yeah.
talking
So I,
about with perimeter, not Jamal with perimeter.
oh, now with perimeter, um, I do still think he was an attractive person. That's why I gave in to him when he started feeling on me in the bed.
Mm. Walk me through what happened. Walk me through what happened.
So
So
I literally
everybody
came.
got ready to go to bed, and y'all went up to the bed to the room together or separately.
No, so what it is I stayed out for a while smoking and working on beats. They had kind of already irritated me. Greg had cut the scenes out a little bit, and when it came to the music part, but they kind of had me a little bit. I was a little bit not really rocking with people, just from a musical standpoint on what had happened. So I was on the porch, kind of in my own world and kind of distant from people, and everybody kind of felt it, so they kind of left me alone. So I was just distant in my own world, listening to beats and I was listening to beats that I wanted to present to them all too. But because nobody was seeming to care to come over and try to, I guess in the moment baby me, or at least see how I felt about anything, I was like, man, forget them. But perimeter ended up coming, he kept coming around. And he came around, he hit the bowl, because then it started becoming less and less people out there. So he came, he hit the bowl outside. We did the verse. I kicked the verse for him for the song. And then he ended up going back in the house. When he went back in the house after hitting the bowl, he never came back out. So that part threw me off a little bit, because when he came out, we were kind of interacting with each other a little bit, enough to keep the verse. And the song was a little sexy love song, so it was kind of like about us in a sense. So when he left, he didn't come back. It kind of threw me off a little bit, like, why the hell he came back here? Like, what is he doing? So I didn't know what he was doing at all. So when I went in the house, because now it's like, well, it's almost 3 some in the morning. I need to be getting ready to go to bed, because I know Greg gonna want to wake me up early, because he wanted me to cook the breakfast. So I went upstairs, and Greg was in the bed with perimeter at the time. So I woke Greg up.
Were they doing anything?
No, Greg was just inside of the bed because
You
um
have to ask with production.
so Greg honestly was just in the bed, I think, because he had done rented all these rooms. His only place
I'm
that he
joking,
had.
Greg. God.
Yeah, so his place to sleep was on the sofa. So I think he was just trying to get some bed rest. It was nobody in the bed when he got in the bed. So perimeter came and got in the bed with him after he was already in the bed, Greg. So I woke Greg up. Greg got out of the bed. And he was in there watching TV. So I got Greg out of the room, and then I laid in the bed. It wasn't until maybe a good 20 minutes later of me being in the bed. I'm in the bed on my phone, and then I think perimeter turns around or something, like somewhere where we have our interaction. Maybe his foot had touched me first, but I just noticed. He asked me. He acknowledged who I was in the bed. We had talked for a minute, and then he was out of it. It was like he woke up, but he was like asleep. He was kind of out of it, and then his legs started touching mine. So that went on for like maybe a good 30, 45 seconds of just playing footsie, and then I put my arm around him. I put my phone away so that if I can give him proper attention, because it seemed like he wanted my attention. So I put my phone away, and then I ended up putting my arm around him to just make myself a little bit more closer to him. And we just kind of, just grinded with each other for a second. And he did
When
fall.
you say grinded, what does that mean? Did you put your dick on his ass or what?
Yeah, so
How did
he
that
was
work?
laid. He was laid towards, like, he was laying in my arms, so his back and butt was to me.
So y'all were
To
kind of spooning, and you were the big spoon, and he was the little spoon.
yeah, spooning. I don't know what that mean. What spooning mean?
Spooning like two spoons together like this, spoons. And then you have the big
Oh,
spoon and
okay.
the little spoon. They call that spooning.
Oh, I didn't know that. I never heard of that one.
Yeah, when you put two spoons together, when you stack
No,
spoons.
I can see it now. I could
Yeah.
see what you said, but I had never heard of that.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that's what we were doing. So it was just kind of sweet, and then I know I
Get
could
hard.
vouch. I could vouch that he fell back asleep. Yes, I could vouch that he
You
fell
did
back
get
asleep.
hard.
Yes, and then I kept shaking him. I asked him. I said, "Perimeter, are you woke?" And he said, "Yeah." And then he was back woke again. And then, we sitting there, we going with each other, still doing the spooning thing. And then that's how he ended up turning on his stomach. When he turns on his stomach, because I began to pull down his pants. When he turned on his
Did
stomach,
you
is how
touch any other part of his body?
yeah, his nipples.
You touched his nipple. Did you touch his dick?
No, I don't think I touched his dick. Because I think,
Oh,
we in that moment we understood I was trying to get some booty and he was trying to give up some booty. So
oh,
yeah.
okay.
And so he ended up turning on his stomach. I got around with him as he turned on his stomach, as I'm pulling down his pants, and then that's how I began to eat his buttocks. You
So
know.
he turned and laid flat on his stomach. Did he
Mhm.
toot his ass in the air?
Yes.
Oh, so he did just lay flat on the bed.
No.
He turned on his stomach and
Yes.
went toot that thing up, mommy make it roll. He tooted it up in the air as if to invite you to the ass.
Yes. 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 It was
Oh.
yes. Yes. It was all led on. It was all natural. It was regular. It wasn't like like
Oh,
it
but
was.
so let me back up. Y'all started playing footsies. You then get off your phone. You put your arm around him. Then
Mhm.
y'all start spooning. You ask him, "Are you awake?" He says
Mhm.
yes. You start spooning some more. You start rubbing on his nipples and stuff. Did his nipples get hard?
I don't remember if his nipples got around.
Oh,
I don't.
yeah. So you said you rubbed on his nipples. You didn't rub on his dick, but you only rubbed on his nipples. You had your erect penis inside the crack of his ass or on the small of his back?
He still had his pants on, so it was like just in on his butt, but just
On
with
his
our
butt,
clothes.
on top of his pants. What type of pants were he wearing? Was he wearing? Was it shorts or basketball shorts, boxers,
Nah,
jeans?
he had on like I think these little black pants that he had that didn't have no belt or something for him, so he kept
Oh,
like
so it
sagging.
wasn't like he was just wearing shorts or boxers. He had on pants.
Yeah, yeah, he had on pants and boxers.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So at a certain time after that, he turned over on his stomach, but then tooted his ass in the air. Do I got that right?
Yeah. So
All
stupid.
right. You then say that. I just want to make sure I got the story right. You then say that according to you, he had on pants. So you had to remove his pants. Did he have on underwear or was he free balling?
No, he had on underwear. He had on
So
like these little boxer briefs that he had on.
you had to remove his pants. Did you have to unbuckle the pants?
Nah, I told you the things had been sagging because he ain't no belt for him. They had like literally he had
Oh,
no
so
belt,
they just
so
came straight off. Bam. It was no resistance.
no resistance.
Okay, so the pants easily come off. But it take a little something to get the boxer briefs off, right?
Yeah, but I ain't had pulled him like down to where they're off his body. I just pulled him down enough to where
Where
his
his
butt was
ass
showing.
crack could be open.
Yes.
Was it hairy?
No, it was kind of smooth from what I
It was
remember.
smooth. Did
Hmm.
it have a little bit of the musk from the day in there? Some people like that kind of stuff.
Nah, being honest, it was like as if he was like clean. It was like from remembering it, yeah, honestly, it was clean.
Oh, okay. And you ate for the heavens.
Yes, yeah, I did for at least a good maybe 45 seconds, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, only for 45 seconds.
Yeah, I
Interesting.
can't think. It can't have been too long because it was like right as I got into it. That's when he had like I guess I would say he woke up. It was like as if he had fell asleep. Like now that we could call it out and look at it in all perspectives, I can only take some of his account into truth as well. So maybe he fell back asleep like I had thought. He fell back asleep and then woke back up and woke up. So
So let me make sure I'm right. His ass is tooted up. You don't pull the pants down. You don't pull the boxer briefs down. Your tongue is in the crack of his ass.
mhm.
And within less than a minute of you, did you get the tongue inside the hole or were you still just lapping the outside of the hole?
Probably just the outside of it.
So
You know.
you said probably like you wasn't there. You were
I
there. I
mean,
wasn't
I'm
there.
I'm I'm being sensitive in the situation too. I'm not gonna just sit here and exploit it because I mean
I'm not trying to
it was
explain. No, no,
sensitive
no. The reason
because
that I'm
I mean
asking,
honestly it made me feel bad. Like
no, no, no.
after
And,
he
and
was
here's why I'm asking for details because giving more details let's paints a picture about what was possible and what was not possible. Because
Yeah.
somebody like me, I'm very inquisitive, and I'm my brain goes to a lot of questions. So
Yeah.
no having as much information as I can, because I'm gonna tell you, sticking your tongue in someone's booty hole is very different than lapping the outside.
Mhm.
Somebody can make say, "Well, I ain't know if you just lapping the outside." Whereas you stick your tongue in somebody's booty hole, you know somebody's tongue is in your booty hole.
Mhm.
Unless you just wide open like that, your asshole is whistling Dixie or something like that. So that's why I asked, because remember I asked you what type of pants he had on. Remember I said, "What did
Mhm.
you have to struggle to get the pants on?" Because I want to know, is it plausible or possible that all of this could have happened and he not be aware and be actually sleep?
Yeah, I
That's why
think it
I
is.
asked, did you
I
pull
think I
the
would
underwear all the way
definitely.
off?
Yeah, I would definitely think that it's plausible. I'm not gonna sit here. I mean, because it happened, and I remember when he woke up and he ended up pulling up his pants. He didn't really say much. It's just that it was kind of like he looked at me and then he rolled back over and went to sleep. So, me feeling just like, I mean, imagine you had just started eating somebody booty and then they fell asleep. You got a heart on, like it was like what the fuck. So and then you don't know because the way he just acted, he left me with no type of
So
clue of.
within the less than a minute, he woke up and turns over, pulls his pants up. How did he look at you?
He looked at me as if he was out of it, as if he didn't really know what the hell was going on.
So he pulls up his boxer briefs. Did he pull up the pants?
I ain't touch. I got up off of him and didn't touch him, so I can't sit here and say how to what extent he pulled up stuff because it's dark and I'm like embarrassed.
Oh,
So
so the lights are off. You can't really see, make
yeah,
anything
and
out.
like
The
it
lights
was, yeah,
completely off.
the lights was off in the whole house, so it was dark.
Okay. Did you have a cover on top of you, a blanket or a sheet or anything?
Yeah, we were sharing the same thing, so it had a sheet and a blanket.
Okay. So was the blanket on top of you all?
Well, because of the position that I was in,
Yeah,
it
you
was
can't
pulled
really
down
have a
off of
blanket
me.
on.
So
Yeah.
now that I'm now getting back under the covers, now he's able to pull it back up over himself too.
Okay. After he turned back over and rolled and pulled his pants up or whatnot, gathered himself. Did he go back to sleep?
Hmm.
What did you do? You had a hard dick. Did you go in the bathroom and jack off or something?
I was blow mad. I was sitting up on my phone, mind you. I'm trying to keep my phone close to my face so the light doesn't really have too much of reflection.
Were there other people in the room?
No, it was just me and him. But because the door was maybe it was open, maybe it wasn't. Um, but because of the way the room was set up, it's just the light would reflect everywhere. So I ended up just trying to make myself go ahead and wind down and go to sleep because now it's like four something in the morning. We're about to wake up at 9. For me to start breakfast. Because that was the initial plan from Greg. So it was like let me just go ahead and just go to bed.
Did you make breakfast the next morning?
No, then I don't know what Greg have. Greg, I don't know how he sensed it, but he must have sensed something because I was not waking up with breakfast. Like, and I was happy he didn't wake me up. He didn't even try it.
Who
No,
woke up first, you or perimeter?
Perimeter had woke up first because he kept waking me up by walking in and out of the door with different people, and that was pissing me off.
Did he say anything to you
Not one word. Not one
until
word.
y'all were downstairs in the middle of breakfast?
Hmm.
Now here's my question. When he asked you what happened last night, I'm the type of person. Now I'm gonna tell you me. I'm not a kiss and tell person. What's not gonna happen is we're not gonna do anything sexually and have that out there in for public fodder. We're not gonna
Hmm.
do that. So my first reaction to somebody saying, "What did we do last night?" I probably would have been like, "Hold on, let's go talk about this privately off camera." My question is, why when he first asked you, because he started off saying, "What happened last night?" And you was kind of like, "What you mean? What happened last night?"
Yeah, I
And
was
he was
so caught
like,
off guard. It was like
right.
what?
And then when he said I woke up to you eating my ass. You should have been like, "Can we talk about this off camera?" Or even if you didn't tell him, turn to Greg. "Hey, Greg, Can we shut the camera down for this? I don't know if
You
Greg
know,
would have, but that just would have been
I think
mine.
in that moment, if I had done it, I think he would have. But I wasn't really. First off, it's already on camera. Like in my brain, I could not believe that because it wasn't like as if that thing, as if I didn't think about what the hell happened last night either. But it was just the fact that I would have never imagined that would have been the way that you would have addressed it. So in my brain, I'm like, hold up, they're trying to create this type of story on me. Like I was mad at everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, yo, what is going on? Like, why would you think that this is cool to record this as a way to
So you were
open up
mad at
this? Like,
production?
yeah, I was mad at production. Like I had snapped at everybody. Like we had already talked about it. So at that moment, so I'll get to that part in the partner conversation. So when it ended up happening, I just instantly and I just had to just suck it up. Like it's already here. So let's be authentic. Like no, like you're not gonna sit here and make it seem like I just out violated you. Like no, you left me feeling away. You know what I'm saying? Because I do agree that I think you fell asleep. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna sit here and say and take that away. I felt like that. But how it got played out, you didn't say nothing to me for the rest of the night. You just went back to sleep. So, for you to just go back to sleep, not give me no type of conversation. You've been in and out of the room all morning. You know what I'm saying? Why didn't you think to come to me? Because you gotta think I of course thought something too when he woke me up with them lights back and forth. All that stuff was on my mind too. You know what I'm saying? Because you left me in the bed that way thinking. So it was like, why you couldn't say something to me? Like it was like as if you was out for the worst of me, and I don't even know why. Like I didn't even know why. So I just got
Can you
mad.
admit that your reaction probably elicited his reaction?
Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I watched the episode, so I seen what he said. He don't think that no one. I mean, how was either of us to know what we were going to react like to something like that? So he didn't know how I was going to react, and I never even cared or seen how he reacted. To be honest, until I watched the episode,
Yeah, no,
because
you just was you blacked out and was just went off on a tangent. He went off
oh
on
yeah,
one, you went off on one. It just was not good.
yeah, yeah. I went upstairs. It was like, oh boy, I'm getting you up out of this room. It was like you can't stay in this room with me. Because you tripping. And the fact like I'm like dare you to bring your behind up here. Like come upstairs. Like I'm dare you to bring your behind up here. But I was getting him up out of this room. It was over. I don't even think I wanted to be there. Like I don't know. It was like oh no, it's over. This is too much. And then production came upstairs. Production ended up coming upstairs and then calming me down. So I think I wanted to leave the situation because I did end up leaving out of the
I
house.
don't think y'all pay Greg enough. Greg be having too much going on with all y'all. Greg is always got a lot going on, and I'll be like, Greg, you ain't but that big. Greg ain't but this tall. Okay,
That
I'll be
day,
like,
Greg,
Greg,
if we would have had, we should have had a separate camera to watch Greg that day. I promise you, because the
I
way
need what? Well, hell, he always
Greg,
on the camera anyway.
he should have. It should have been a separate camera in the house to be able to watch the stuff that didn't get recorded. Like even the upstairs, the snapping of me was just crazy. But when Greg was downstairs and they was doing the whole fighting in the backyard, and Greg having to run from the production, from the photo shoot in the garage to run back outside, that stuff needed to be recorded. I was like, just thinking about it, I'm like, it's so much stuff that's missing that would have made it chaotic. Cause it was too much for me. That
My
same
thing
day, just
is, but here's my issue. So we'll get to that. My issues with production later. Okay, so at this point, there's no talking to you.
no, mm-mm, mm-mm. Boy,
Because
trying to talk
if
to
you
me
go
out
back
there
and
talking about some.
watch, he never accused you of at first he did not accuse you of anything at first. He said, I woke up and you was eating my ass. He didn't accuse you of sexually assaulting him. He didn't accuse you of raping him. He did not accuse you of any one of those things.
You're right.
Now,
I never looked at it
I
that
will
way.
admit if I get a chance to interview him, I would tell him he handled that wrong because that's not something that you do in a company of a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah,
Like that's just not how you handle that. That's immature. That's immaturity, right? I don't even know old the young man is, but that to me sounds of somebody in their early 20s not knowing how to handle adult situations.
yeah,
Um, So that was handled all wrong. But I do think you, sir, being the mature one in the situation, could have handled yourself differently as well. Looking back at it now, would you handle it the same way?
Um, I don't know because I had never had nothing like that happen. So I mean, I would, yeah, I guess I don't know how would you have handled. I mean, I guess looking at it from now, I would have probably pulled him over to the side and at least said, "Yo, I think this is something we should handle off of camera," you know. Um, but then that would have been optics because then it would have became into if if they would have kept that part of say that part right there got recorded up into me
Hmm.
saying that would have been something that people are going to look at and then say, well, what got talked about off of camera? Why did it have to be held off of camera? So I'm comfortable with knowing the fact that people had caught the authentic response of
I
everything.
understand that. That I
Yeah.
definitely understand.
Because looking at the comfortability of everything, I mean, now we just watched last night's episode. You're all up behind me. You're walking behind me. You're very close to me. You know what people don't see is you had already talked to me. You know what I'm saying? It was like, let me explain what happened. You know, because I was like, yo, what happened? Like, why would you? I asked him, why would you do that? He told me in the moment that that production them had put him up to to catching it on film.
Oh, so we blaming Greg. So Greg told him to ask you that on camera. I mean,
But
we making a show.
But I mean, but listening to Greg, because I talked to Greg about it, it was more, he had already opened up and told the people. So like we seen it on camera. Greg told me that no,
Oh,
I was
I don't think I
recording.
remember him telling them before, because I thought all y'all were in the same spot together.
Yeah, no, we were in the same house, but like I said,
No, no, I'm
he was
saying from what I remember of episode 2, all of y'all were sitting around that kitchen island or that
Yeah,
table
but
or
when the
whatever that
stuff
was
was
in the
going on,
kitchen.
when the fighting and craziness was going on, I had went over because I had made edibles. So everybody been eating off my edibles all night and all morning. So now here it is the next day, perimeter, and I was mad because here it is, you just put this foolishness out and said this about me, but you over in the corner eating my edibles. So I walk over to my stuff. I'm like, I'm like, what are you doing? And he was like, oh, can I have some? And I was like, what would make you say what you said? Like, what the hell is going on with your head? Like,
Yeah,
you,
these are people who are frontal lobes are still growing and stuff like
yeah,
that. So
like, how you gonna say some stuff like that about the person and then think to go in their stuff, eat their stuff?
child.
Couldn't believe it. I was like, I ain't gonna lie, I was like, this boy has lost his mind. Like, you keep walking by me and stuff. Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, there's a level of immaturity there. And I think that you at that point should have saw that there was a level of immaturity there
It was.
and
It's like you want to know more
give and
conversation.
but what I'm saying is when you realize and understand that there's a level of immaturity there, that should allow you to govern yourself accordingly and and move differently.
It did. I mean, it created a lot of mindset of just how I looked at it on how all the ways I looked at it, you just handled it wrong. It's too young. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I saw that with why I backed off in the beginning too. You know what I'm saying? Just over the phone. Like, okay, this is a little bit too much gaga goo goo Alice in the Wonderland type love. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, like I don't even know you.
So
And
do
then
you
I'd be like,
think that do you think it was just a situation he was cute, you got horny, you picked up on some signals that may not have been there and
no.
took.
So hold on, Teddy. So this is where it get crazy, Teddy. So 2 months later, now I at this moment I hadn't spoken to him for 2 months. So I'm left under the impression that what happened in the house was what the impression I was left under, and I'm thinking in my head that I possibly did really violate this guy, and I felt bad. And then 2 months later, I get a phone call from a random number on my phone, and I answer it and he tell me that it's him and he wanted to apologize and he let me know that I wasn't tripping. He actually was engaging, but he told me that he was mad because I didn't give into him like he imagined that I would have when we first had met. He felt like I was acting distant with him and
He
already
wanted you
explained
to
that I
take him
was.
upstairs and blow his back out.
yeah, he wanted me to be like, because when we was in the car and stuff, he was giving a little bit more than what I was giving back, and I do remember.
Oh, yeah, this is immaturity. This is, yeah, he looking for a daddy.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
I do remember all those feelings of feeling like, oh, but I just never would have thought that that's how he would have reacted to, like, and I let him
So,
know, like, people believe what you said. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you like, how, why,
but
because I like, why, it's
but
crazy.
and let me say this. Now that you tell me, especially when you say he tooted his ass up, you don't nobody sleeps tooting their ass up. Hey, Bando. I don't know nobody in the world. When I go to sleep and I'm on my side, if I roll over on my stomach, I'm not tooting my ass up. If my ass is tooted up, it's tooted up for a reason. Baby, I'm about to get my womb plunged, my box beat in, or I'm going, get I'm not a person really into getting my ass ate. It don't really do nothing for me. It does more for the other person than it does for me. So I just let them go ahead. Go ahead. I might make a few noises to make you feel like it's okay. But there's only been two people on the face of this planet that ever made me feel something when they was eating my ass. And so I just let people have they get more out of it than I do. So I'll be like, go ahead, have a good time. Go ahead. Whatever. I'm just saying.
But
So okay. So that explains a lot. So he came back and he said, "Yeah, I did want you to go ahead." And I think it was convenient for I think he here's what I'm thinking. This is just my estimation. I think he might have actually been asleep or in and out of sleep. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And that's possible. I also think that happening was convenient because he was already upset that you didn't snatch him upstairs and beat his box in, okay, or plunge his womb. And so he was kind of feeling the kind of way. And so, the immaturity sets in and it's easy to get other people on your side. If you could be like,
Yeah,
yeah, this motherfucker did such and such to me. Because there was a little
yeah,
bit, he might have been angry
yeah,
and him being angry, having that situation, to put an extra little stank on it. Ice whole cameras here, girl. I'm really finna give you my show my ass. I had a whole camera crew here,
yeah.
and I think all of that happened. I think all of that could have happened. Now that don't mean now. Let me give you a little one and two, sir. How convenient is it that you're always the one that has sexual situations and allegations? Why
Yes,
is you
yes.
always the one? Are you just that sexual of a being? Your dick that big that everybody wanted up in him, or your ass that wet that everybody want to be up in it?
I ain't gonna lie. I myself as a person was like, what in the hell type of shit be going on with these cameras? Because mind you, we had the situation where I, danced on Jamal on the first episode. And then and then that created the consent word. And then Greg even gave some classes one day, on a consent word that pissed me off so bad. I was like, what the fuck type of shit is this? So then this recording came just a few months later after that. So at that moment, I also had like, what are they setting me up? Like, are they playing with me?
Remember,
You
you had
know?
the situation with Ja and the
Oh,
other
and the
dude.
jaw thing. I forgot about the jaw thing.
Yeah, yeah. Where you had the little threesome going on in the bed with you and the other dude and Ja.
Oh Jesus. Yeah, so I was like, so I always tell Greg, I'd be like, them cameras, but them cameras be like pulling out they be turning into demons. I don't know what be wrong with them cameras. Something wrong with them cameras. They like to pull out the stuff that you're weak at in life, and then exploit it. So I was like, maybe they're trying to exploit my sex life. Which may be, I'd probably be a lot more famous if I had exploited my own sex life.
Oh, you making the OnlyFans for the people or just for fans? What they call it?
I think if I would, I most definitely would be a super millionaire if I had created one of those long time ago. I should
Oh,
most definitely
jeez.
started during the
Why would you
pandemic.
be a super millionaire if you had an OnlyFans? J Dot, please explain.
Honestly, in my own life, this is just my regular, just me being me. I wish I would have like done porn. I think because I'm so great at being who I am and talking and sharing my story and honest, and people like that. I think if I would have already got the porn era out of me when I was a teenager and stuff, I think by now I could have still had time to be who I am today. Because I always wanted to do it.
We don't want our porn stars to talk. We just want them to fuck.
Yeah, but I talked to a lot of them people who be porn stars, like the Rico Pruitts, who are actual great actors. You know what I'm saying? And they wish that they wouldn't have fell into porn because it stopped their acting career, and now nobody wants to deal with them, and they don't know how to sell themselves. You know what I'm saying? When they talk to me, they're like, "Bro, the way you sell yourself and talk about your story and stuff, like I don't have it to do that." You know what I'm saying? Like I can't make people like me like that. So I'm looking at myself and I'm like, "Damn, I could have probably had did it." You know, but you know, and
Speaking of sex, you was on the show and they were like, you and Dink was going at it, and you was surprised because I guess you was surprised because y'all was blowing each other's backs out, or you was blowing his back out, or he was blowing your back out. I don't know what y'all was doing. What was that about? Was that sexual tension between y'all?
I don't
Y'all still
know.
fucking?
No, no, no. Honestly, nah. We haven't since that moment happened.
Oh, y'all haven't talked since then?
Yeah, we talked. We done talk. He done apologize and stuff, and I done forgave him.
Oh. You let that young man get your buginas? You let him plunge your womb? They say you got big stuff.
We've had some great fun in the bedroom.
Mm. You took all that? Okay, they said that. Oh, child.
I don't know
Oh,
Dank. Dank can tell you that I don't know him. I don't know Dank. I know Denzel.
oh,
Yeah, Denzel is a totally different person. Like even when you're
interesting.
with him, he's like he's even masculine in a sense. So it's like and I asked him before. I said I don't know if you do this with me or if you just play two different characters, but you like a whole different person when you're Denzel. Like it's a whole different
You
person.
like Denzel?
I like Denzel. I love Denzel. Denzel could be somebody I would love.
Interesting. Very interesting. Um, but that was just but so in your estimation, that really wasn't much. It was just a whatever and keep going.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Why do you think let me go back to the situation. I remember the last time we spoke, you mentioned about when you were young, that you had your own situations where people made unwanted sexual advances towards you, and you had your own situations when you were young. How do you
hmm
reconcile that with all of these shows? People keep making these same or alluding to these same allegations about you. How do you reconcile that, or how does what's through your mind when you think about that um
Um,
situation?
I, I, you ask great questions. So I honestly I look at it, and I don't really know what to make of it. It's just that you know, I can't help that I've always been sexualized since a child. So it's just it's just the norm. So that's why I'm
So
like
do you think
the
that you
fact that it's
carried that
home,
on? Do you think
huh?
that's something that you consciously still try to project on yourself, being this sexual being
No,
because of that?
I would like to not be who I am in a sense, or to have not been through the things I've been through. But when you've been at certain things, when you've been taken advantage of, and you've been put in situations of, even as kids, because you don't think of being taken advantage of. Sometimes you look at it as you mutually as you were mutual, you mutually agreed to everything, because you put yourself there, you're there. And as a kid, things just seem norm and it seems fine. To older other people, are like, oh, that older person that was sleeping with you, that was wrong. Yeah, it's wrong, but it don't really seem wrong. You're with them all the time. They're doing things. Yeah, they might pass you around and make you sleep with their other older friends and stuff like that, but it just was the norm. So,
With you having have dealt with your own sexual trauma and things like that, wouldn't one say that that should make you more sensitive to other people when they try to make those allegations, or make you
Well, it
more.
was when I held that conversation with Ja, I cried. I was being very vulnerable in in just speaking from that night that I spoke and told him the stuff that had happened to me. So when he took that stuff and flipped it on me, see, I learned that people don't care about things. People don't care about stuff that happened to you. I learned a lot from that situation because people don't care that that was something very sensitive. That boy took something that I shared with him and told him about stuff that people did to me and flipped it on me and made it seem as if I was one of those people. You know what I'm saying? When he shared in the conversation with me that people had did it to him. So people would be just nasty and monstrous, you know, just because that's just how they are. So, how to feel about it in totality, I don't really know. I just know that I've grown to be a little bit more guarded. You don't catch me
Mm.
really performing the 1408 song anymore, because I don't do the prototype song. I'm still strong and would do it when it's the time, but now I'm conscious to where, oh, should I ask people to dance with them? Like, and you're just this way because the situations that happen within these shows have made it that way. I've never experienced it in my own world, but it did show that, okay, well, people could be also another way, and you have to protect yourself. So the best way to protect yourself is to not really allow yourself to get in situations that can bring out the worst in you.
How do you stop yourself from becoming jaded? And what I mean by that is making it where every time, because even from your estimation, I'm sure you may say every time I come on one of these shows, one of these people accuse me of this, so I'm just not going to even put myself out there for these people to do that anymore. I'm not going to open myself up to the. How do you keep yourself from becoming jaded and said, I'm not, I'm just going to cut everybody off and not tell anybody anything?
I, I don't really know that answer there yet, because I mean we got another show that's coming up and somebody made up some shit on that one. I mean they just made up some shit out the ass. I mean you want to support a
I
person.
mean, come on, Jay. Come on now, Jay Dot. I
No,
mean,
I mean we really, but see the weird part, Teddy, is that we could look at the Jaw situation. He came back and he
mhm.
apologized about it. You know what I'm saying? So he ate his own words and said that, yeah, I was wrong. I made up some shit on you. You know what I'm saying? We could look at this perimeter situation. At the end of the day, that's what he did. He called and he apologized about it. So regardless of what it is that people have thrown at me and said, they went back and admitted that they were lying. Now, why people take and create sexual things about me to be able to tear down my character, I don't know. But we can at least look at the facts and be like, well, I mean, on their own, they came back and said they were lying. I mean, I don't get nothing. I mean, yeah, I get something out of it, but you don't see me engaging and talking with these people. So it's not like they gained a friendship or anything out of me, by doing it. So, they just shot them own selves in the foot because I actually was willing to be their friends. I was trying to be their friends, so
Well, at least it ain't stop you from being on the shows. You say y'all filming a whole nother show. Dear God.
oh yes, yes, filmed in a whole nother show with a
Yeah,
person who's going to
am I
be.
gonna have more to talk about in another interview after that
Jesus.
show?
This person right here was more diabolical than any person I've encountered. They really went with the
So
worst.
you
They
just well, and I'm just asking this because someone's always gonna ask this question. So I gotta, as the interviewer, I have to play, be fair. Somebody's gonna say, well, is it always the other person and not you? You have no culpability in anything. You ain't did nothing. You are how you always the innocent one and everybody always picking on you.
um as of now in life, that is just the way it is. Um, you know, I can't really answer that question. I mean, what am I to say? If it was something that was just real and something that I think, I would just be honest about it. Because if Perimeter had never ever came out right now and never ever called and apologized, I would be on y'all side. I would be saying, well, maybe I did something wrong to that guy. You know what I'm saying? I would just be more apologetic about it. You know?
Do you
So
regret giving him drugs, knowing that he claims that he relapsed?
yeah, cause see, that's not what he said to me. When I was there, it wasn't a, well, I relapsed, because see, he had just did the drugs a few days prior to that. Like, as far as me talking to him on the phone, so he had already done relapsed. If that's how you want
Oh,
to
so
look at
you're
it.
saying you ain't make him relapse. He relapsed on his own.
Yeah, he relapsed on his own. That's how he ended up wanting some when he
Is that
got
the only
there.
drug y'all did together?
Yeah, in marijuana.
Okay. Mm, okay. Um, Now I always tell y'all when y'all come on this channel to interview, I always say I'm always open if you ever want to come back and explain something even after we do our interview. Maybe something else comes out and you want to give your side of it. Anything I need to be worried about that's coming up this season, sir? Anything else is only like
Um,
3 or 4 episodes, but anything else I need to be worried about? Was you out there fighting with the because I couldn't even tell why they was out there fighting with this ladder and stuff. Was he on drugs at that point still? When he
I don't know
picking up
what.
ladders and shit?
I don't know. I mean, he said he was picking up ladders and shit and looking at the boy booty at the same time. I don't know.
Like
So I don't.
but yeah, anything I need to be worried about, sir?
No, you just have to stay tuned.
Did you ever get up in somebody's guts while you was in there? Since you ain't getting none of him, anybody else womb you plunged? Did you roll up in Bando's booty hole and uh uh beat his box in? Chrissy say she got a boyfriend, so she ain't with that fuck shit. Did you get up in what's the little Sparky's Buginas? I
Mm-mm.
think you got a little thing for Jamal. Did you finally let Jamal get a piece of your goodies? Let him enter your body?
Still haven't gotten a piece of Jamal. You know what I'm saying? It still never
I,
happened.
I think that's
I
a
should have
piece
took
of
advantage
dark
of that first
chocolate
night.
that you want.
I should have took advantage of that first night when we seen each other. That should have been the one.
Yeah, you
Or
want
maybe I
some of
should have
that
put that
dark
in the city
chocolate.
myself. But no, I still never got a piece of Jamal. There might be a little. There might be a little talk about next week and next episode. Maybe something might be dropped in there. Maybe about something that happened in the house. But you
Mhm.
know,
Involving
you know,
you?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm only yeah,
What
I'm
did you
speaking
do?
myself.
You can't
You
tell me
know,
yet. You can't tell me yet.
I'm just gonna say, it was the type of sex that you only had in that moment because you was mad. It was, and it was a good 30-second nut.
Ew. Not 30 seconds. God.
That was all I had. I was too mad. I was like, man, let me
Oh.
go ahead and just put it in. Let me bust and let me get up out of here.
Well, who was it?
You'll find out next week.
How you know we gonna find? You don't even know what's in the episode. We may never see it.
Well, Greg, you might not see it on time, but you will see
You ain't shit.
it.
So whoever it is, you are admitting that they stuck their meat stick up in you.
No, I stuck my meat stick up in them.
Oh, you stuck your meat stick up in them. Oh, okay. I did like 2 or 3 strokes and it was over because 30 seconds ain't nothing but 2 or 3 strokes.
Yeah, I was already ready to nut before they even sat on
Oh. Oh, they sat on it. Oh,
it.
interesting. Did you grab on their stuff like a joystick? When somebody rides you, it's good to reach around and grab theirs and move them around grab their stuff and move
I
them
ain't
like
even
it's
gonna
a
lie, I was so
joystick.
mad. Now that you asking that, I was so mad. I ain't even had touched them like that. You know what I'm
Were you
saying? 'Cause I
mad
was
at
hungry.
them or you mad at another situation?
And I was mad at the person, so I ain't
Oh,
even.
so your way to get over your anger was to dig in a box?
Yeah, that's what they
Okay.
want.
Wait. I gotta was the person perimeter?
Mm-mm, no, no, no,
Oh, it's
no. That
not
would have
perimeter.
been
I
crazy.
just wanted to make sure because that would have been real awkward. Like, wait, that would have been real weird. So
That would have
somebody
been
made
weird.
you mad because now what you gonna have us doing is anybody who we see you mad with on the next episode, we gonna think that's a person who boxed you, who rolled your meat stick.
Yeah, but I've already done the confessional for it, so therefore it'd be spoken about.
Oh, do they speak about it?
This person didn't really have much of a big role on the show to even have a confessional, so I don't know.
Interesting. But this happened in the house.
Yeah,
Have y'all had sex before or after that?
Not after that. That was the last time.
Mm. Oh, I know who this is. That's easy. We'll talk about it backstage. I already know who this is. That's real easy to figure. I can't play with you. Anyway, you have any questions for me, sir?
No, I don't have no questions. It was a good one. You know, it was always good. Like this was real funny. How did you enjoy the GDR festival? Because did you make the performance part?
I did. I was there. I
Yeah,
was
you
sitting in the
were you
back
were there.
next to Bando. Bando
Yes,
don't remember that I was sitting right next to him in the
you were
back
sitting
of
next
the
to me at the table.
at the table in the back.
Yep, because I walked in past.
Hmm.
Yep.
And Bando was sitting at the table right by me. We were sitting right next to each other. Anyway, yeah, I thought I liked your outfit that night too. I said that's a cute little outfit. Now you got mad at me. Now I'ma just call it for what it is. You know, like I always say, real girls do real things. When we was at the thing that morning, remember when we was at the little hotel that morning, and you walked up on me, and I looked at you and you pulled up your shade, and I say, bitch. I said, why is your eyes bloodshot? I said, girl, you just came up on, and you got so angry with me and so upset with me. And I was like, now, girl, I'm about a lot of things. But I knew what I saw. I said, baby, your eyes is as red as my booty hole. I said, girl. And you got so mad and walked away from me and did not come back over to me again. I say, I don't care, but I know what I saw.
Because I
What
was
was that
recording with
about?
my phone at the same time. So I was
Huh?
like, I said I was recording with my phone at the same time. So
Oh,
yes, so I was like, oh my God, he just put me on blast. So I was so mad. I was like, I was mad at myself, really, because I didn't also like that I was so
like
high.
you was high. You was up in that giraffe's coochie.
Yeah, because I knew at that
Listen,
moment, just being real, what I'm saying, for people that get high, they already relate and understand. When you're already high and you already done been up for a few days, if you go to sleep, you're gonna be asleep for like a while. So I didn't really get a chance to take any time to go to sleep because if I went to sleep, I wouldn't have woken up for everything in time to be anywhere. So I ended up having to just suck it up, and
you
and
had
at
them
that moment, you
shades
gotta
on,
keep breathing
baby.
high, huh?
I said you had them shades on, baby.
Yes,
And
baby.
baby, I said something to you, baby. You were so upset with me. I said, girl, I don't know why you upset with me.
I had them shades adjusted to my face even when I perform. It was like, buddy, shades
You
cannot fall off by
did.
one
You
time.
did. It's funny to me, but I was like, nah, because I know I'm very perceptive. I don't miss nothing. I might not speak on everything, but I don't miss nothing. So I was like, because remember that morning, I was sitting way back in the back. I was sitting way back in the, just looking at the whole room, watching everybody like, okay, okay. Mm. Listen, I hope you enjoyed today. Like I always tell you, we always have an open door policy here. If you ever want to come back and speak on anything or give sound to something that maybe you maybe weren't able to give sound to before or on the episode and maybe want to come and talk about it in more detail, I'm always here.
Most definitely, most definitely.
I'm
You
sure
know,
we'll do it again because Greg
we
will
will be
probably try to make me.
most definitely very soon, and I look forward. You a great night as well. And for everybody that's watching, make sure you stream STBBG Volume One. Sincerely, the Black Boy George by the Black Boy
I do
George.
have your links in the description box like normal. So if
Okay,
y'all want to go and hit up his stuff, it's in the description box. Um yeah, let me make sure what I got up in there. Hold on. I can tell you what I got in there now. In the description box, I have your SoundCloud and your Instagram.
okay, that's good. I love my SoundCloud. Make sure So y'all, a lot of people don't know about got some SoundCloud, but download SoundCloud. Great music, and you can find me on all platforms. So, but my SoundCloud page has a lot of exclusive music that's not on all platforms that you'll be able to listen to kind of follow my journey and just see exclusives that I just dropped. Just for the fans that I really rock with. My day ones, gifted to be different is the movement. So thank you to all my day ones that's been rocking. We in this journey to the end. It's just the beginning. I love y'all.
Also, the link to Real Life Realities YouTube channel is also in the chat. I mean, in the description box, so you can go there and check out the episodes and reconcile what he said with what you see on the actual episodes. Listen, y'all, stay right there, J Dot, so we can talk backstage. As I
Okay.
always say, y'all, I love y'all. I love on y'all. Thank you all for being vocal, present, and active. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for any and all contributions that you make to the channel. They're much obliged. They're much appreciated. Y'all could have been a whole lot of places, but y'all decided to hang rock with us, and we are thoroughly grateful and appreciative. Until next time, thank y'all for coming. Y'all drive safely. We are out.